Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to day 4 of our bead along. We have one more day after today. I hope that you successfully completed your base yesterday, and I hope it all made sense for you. If you struggled with that, then you might have succeeded with the ring base, but hopefully you succeeded at something. So I'm going to be working on the bead base today, but I'm just going to show you how to do the same thing on the ring base. So you'll notice on the bead base we have 3 diamonds across on the front, okay? The top and the bottom rows, okay, and then obviously there's 2 here. And then there's basically 1 diamond on each side as well. So we have 5 diamonds across, right? And here at the end we have these little beads. So this bit right here is basically the same as the ring base. So you'll be using the 3 here as the front and the 2 there as the sides, okay? So it's exactly the same base, you're just working on something different, okay? So I hope that all makes sense for you. And just a quick reminder that we do have the PDF available for you for $5 today. We are going to be starting on page 12, okay? And it is all fully illustrated and there for you if you need a PDF, okay? $5. I'll put the link in the comment, the first comment under this video. Okay, so you should be starting with a new thread. Hopefully you tied off your old threads in the back of your bead yesterday, okay? And it does get a little squish, but you can pop it all out once we're done working. All right, okay, so determine what you want to be the top, and we're just going to start by sewing through the kind of 3 and into the very middle top one. So remember how we have these 3 diamonds, you want to come out from that top. It doesn't matter how far over you start, just pick a spot. And our tail is just going to hang out here, so just make sure that it is long enough for you to weave in at the end. But your bead, your thread should be coming out from that very middle gold or whatever color you used bead on that middle diamond on your bead, okay? So now we're going to move forward through the next 2 A beads, and okay, so we're just moving down this way. We're going to go through the gold bead that's here as well, and then we're going to go into the very next A bead after the, so we've just gone down this line here, okay? Now we're going to pick up an 8O bead, okay? And we're going to go into the bead directly below, and we're going to go through that bead, the gold bead, and the next A bead. Okay, so working back towards the center kind of, okay? So through that A bead, through the gold B bead, and again through the next A bead. Okay, then we're going to pick up another of our 8Os, and we're going to go through, look straight across this bead right here, okay? So this is the very middle of our piece, so it's the second bead up from the middle. So go through that bead, and that's going to place our 8O here, okay? Go ahead and go up through the B bead, and through the next A bead. And then we're going to pick up another 8/0. We're going to go straight up above, up to this bead here, okay? Go through that bead. You can go up through that gold bead. Through the next bead. And right now I'm using a size 10 needle because right now I kind of need the strength of the needle to dig my way into the base, but later on we will switch to a size 12 needle, and then we're just going straight across to the bead that is opposite. And it can be a little bit hard to get in, but just do your best, okay? All right, and then we're going to work forward. So go down through the 11/0 and the next A bead as well. So the B and the A. There we go. Okay, so you should now have 4 8/0s on your piece like this, okay? So go ahead, go up into that very first 8/0 that we added, coming out from the A bead here after this B bead, okay? We're going to pick up 3 of our 11/0s. You're going to go into the next 8/0. Pick up 3. Go into the next 8/0. Pick up 3. Go into the next 8/0. And 3 more. And into the next 8/0. Okay, so you now have a circle on the front of your ring, or it could be a kind of wonky square. So now we're going to pick up our 6mm bead. So this bead can either be a round or a bicone, okay? I'm using a bicone today because I'm going to do a blue themed bead, and you'll need some 3mm beads. And again, these can either be rounds, like here I used pearls, or they can be bicones. Here I used bicones, here I used a bicone, here I used a round for the 6mm. So you're kind of free to pick which you want to use, all right? So go ahead, pick up your 6mm bead, whatever color you're using. And we're coming out from this 8/0 here. We're gonna go, threads coming out on the bottom, so I'm gonna enter into the bottom of my 8/0 here, okay? And then I'm going to just sew straight back across through the 6mm bead and down through the 8/0. Okay, so now that's kind of anchored in there. It may look a little weird. You may see a little bit of thread. That's okay at this point because it all gets covered up. Okay. So now we're going to move forward, and we're going to, sorry, no, we're not. We have something else to do here. We're going to pick up 3 of our 15/0 beads. Okay, and we're going to go through that 8/0 one more time. So our thread's coming out the bottom, we're going in the top. Okay, and that's just going to put a little picot corner there. Then we're going to move through the first of our 11/0s. Okay, Okay, so when you're coming out that first 11-0, you're going to skip the second 11-0. You're going to sew through the third 11-0 and the bottom 8-0. And what we want to do is we want to get this bead to pop to the outside. And when you pull in, it's going to form a square like shape like this, okay? So go ahead and kind of pull that in. And we're going to pick up 3 of our 15-0s. And we're going to sew through that 8-0 again, plus the next 11-0. So that's now added our picot here, okay? We're going to skip the next 11-0, sew into the next 11-0 plus the next 8-0. And again, make sure that you pop that bead to the outside. Okay, then we're going to pick up our 3 15-0s, go through that 11, sorry, through the 8 and through the first 11. Okay, so we have that. And then we have to skip the next bead, so into the next 11 and 8-0. Pick up your 3 15-0s. So through that 8-0 and the next 11, skip the next 11 and sew through the next 11 and the next 8-0. Sorry. So I'm sewing through the 11 and the 8-0, okay? And make sure that pops out. So we should now have a kind of square with these little loose little picot bits, okay? All right, so now we're going to move down to the lower level. So look underneath your 8-0 right here. See this diamond right here? You're gonna sew into that second A bead and the B bead, and this can be a little bit tricky, okay? So just be careful, but try and go through the A. Get this out of the way so you can see. I'm going through the A bead there and the B bead, okay? And just make sure that your thread doesn't get looped around anything. All right. Then we're going to work our way down this. So we're coming out from this B bead here. We're going to go down here. Okay. So go down those A beads there. We're going to go through the B bead at the bottom of this diamond. Okay. And then we're just going to go up the very first A bead right here. All right. So coming out from that very first A bead on the bottom left diamond. Okay, we're going to pick up another 8-0. We're going to sew straight up into the A bead that is directly above the one that we're coming out from. So right before the B bead. Okay, so you're going through that A bead there. We're going to pick up a 15-0. We're going to sew directly into the A bead above the one that we're coming out of, okay, like this. And then we're going to pick up another 8-0, and we're going to sew into the bead directly above that one. And you can go ahead and continue on through the next few beads as well. Okay, so we have this. Now we're going to move over until we reach the top of this diamond here. So sew through these beads to get over here. All right, and once you're coming out from that top bead, you're going to go down the next A bead. And we're going to repeat the same thing on this side. So you're going to pick up an 8-0. You're going to go directly into this bead that is right before this B bead here. Okay, so straight underneath, you're going to go down into that A bead. You're going to pick up a 15-0. You're going to go straight into the A bead directly below the bead where you are now. And you're going to pick up an 8-0, and you're going to sew directly into the bead that is straight below it, okay? And you can go ahead and sew into the next couple of B beads as well, okay? All right, so hopefully yours now looks like this, okay? So we're gonna move forward until we exit from this first 8-0, the closest one to where we were just coming from. So go ahead, go through that 8-0. You're going to pick up a 3mm, and remember this can either be a round or a bicone, okay? You're going to sew through the 8-0 that's underneath this picot here, okay? And make sure that you keep that picot up on the top, okay? So sew through that 8-0 right there. Okay, pick up another another 3mm, okay? And we're going to sew through these 3 B beads on the edge between the 2 8-0s, okay? So you're going to go through those 3 B beads. And because they're not necessarily lined up, you might have to do them, you know, 1 or 2 at a time. Okay. So now we're going to sew up through our 3mm again. Yeah, just be careful that you don't cut your thread on if you're using a bicone. Okay, just be careful here. You're going to pick up a 15-0. You're going to sew up through the first 15-0 that is on that little picot, okay? And go ahead and pull quite tight. And then you're going to skip the next 15-0 and you're going to sew into the next 15-0. And yes, we want that 15-0 at the top. You want to pull that out so that it pops out. Okay, so you might need to kind of work it a little. And then we're going to pick up one more 15-0. We're going to go down through our next 3mm bead. Okay, so this should now be quite pointy, and it should kind of be facing in towards your 6mm bead. Okay. Okay, so from here we're going to sew through our 8-0 bead right here, okay, just below your, where you added your 3mm. You're going to pick up 2 of your 11-0s, and you're going to sew through the next 8-0. Like this. We're going to pick up a 3mm. Okay, we're going to sew into the 8/0 that is underneath our little picot right here, okay? And we're going to pick up another 3mm, and we'll be coming back to this, so don't worry. You're going to sew through that 8/0 again, the next 8/0. We will come back and do the side bit in a minute. Again, just be careful if you're using bicones that you don't cut your thread, okay? You're going to pick up 2 of your 11/0s, and you're going to sew through the 8/0 that is right up at the top. All right, then we're going to repeat what we did down here, up here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up a 3mm, and I'm actually going to flip it over because it's going to be easier for me to work, and it'll probably be easier for you if you flip yours over as well. You're going to, we're exiting out from the 8/0. You're going to sew through that 8/0 on the bottom. You're going to pick up another 3mm. If I can find the hole. There we go. You're going to sew through those 3 middle 11/0s. And you don't have to do it all in one shot, but if you can, then good for you. I'm not sure that I can, so I'm going to take it in stages here. All right. Okay. Once you are exiting from that third 11/0, you're going to go up through your 3mm. You're going to pick up a 15/0. You're going to go up through that very first 15/0 of the little picot, okay? You're going to skip the second one, and you're going to enter into the third one. Yeah, it keeps flying away from me. Okay, and you're going to make sure that you pop that third bead out, which means you've got to pull tight in order to kind of create that little point, okay? And then you're going to pick up one more 15/0, and you're going to go down into your 3mm bead. Okay, so we now have kind of 2 points here. We're going to pass through our next 8/0, and we're going to repeat on this side what we did on that side. So we're going to pick up 2 of our 11/0 beads. We're going to go into the 8/0. We're going to pick up a 3mm bead. We're going to sew into the 8/0. Make sure you sew under your picot, okay? You want to go under your picot there through that 8/0. Pick up another 3mm bead. Go into the next 8/0. And we're going to just turn it back over again. We're going to pick up 2 more of our 11/0 beads, and we're going to sew into the 8/0 that is right at the base of where our little picot point is, okay? All right, so hopefully your piece now looks like this. Okay, I apologize if you can hear noise. There is some machinery or something outside. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so now we're going to move forward until we exit from this 8/0 over here, which is like the, so we have 4 on the bottom edge, and we're going over to that very first one. So just go through all of the 11 7s and 8s that are on the edge, and I know it can be a little bit tricky to get into them, so just take your time, go through those to get over there. Okay, and once you are exiting from your 8/0 here, we are going to be picking up 3 of our 15/0s. Okay, so 3 15/0s. We're going to sew up into this B bead that is kind of next to our 8/0, okay? This. Then you're going to pick up 5 of your 15/0s. Okay, so we've got 5. And we're going to sew up into the 8/0 that is over here. So go ahead and sew upwards through that 8/0. Okay, so we now have this line of beads like this. Then you're going to sew up through the very first one of those, that line of 5, okay? And pull it quite tight, okay? We're going to pick up 4 of our 15/0s, and you're going to sew upwards into the gold bead that is right here. Okay, so now it looks like this. And then we're going to pick up 3 15/0s, and we're going to sew into the 8/0, but heading towards the middle of our bead, okay? So you kind of have like, I don't know, a wing shape, I guess. Best way to describe that on that side, all right? Now we're going to pick up 2 15/0s. We're still coming out from that 8/0 at the top right there, okay? You're going to go through the third 15/0 that we just added here, plus you're going to go into the B bead that is right below. So we're going through the 15/0 and the B bead. Okay, so you should now have kind of a little V at the top, okay? See that? We're going to go back through all of these 5 beads again. Plus that 15/0 at the bottom, okay? And at this point you may need to switch needles, okay? Depending on how it's going for you. You're gonna sew through the 8/0 going downwards, and then we're gonna have to sew up through all 5 of these beads, which includes this one at the base that we've already sewn through 3 times. So if you need to switch needles, go ahead and switch, okay? You're going to sew up through the 11/0 B here and the very first 15/0. Okay, so I'm going through the B bead and the 15/0. I'm picking up 2 15/0s, and I am going back through that 8/0 towards the outside edge, okay? And that's going to create a V on the top here. Now we're going to move forward to exit from the second 11-0 right here, the one that's at the base of this diamond. Okay, we're going to pick up 7 15-0s. Okay, so you should have 7. And we're going to sew into this 15-0 right here that we added earlier between these two 8-0s. Okay, so straight up into there. And what should happen is the little line of 15-0s here is going to kind of cross over where that B bead is. So it's going to kind of cover up that B bead. Okay, so that's what it should look like. And then we're going to pick up 7 more. Okay, just checking my numbers. And then you're going to find that middle, like the top of the side diamond, that middle B bead, and we're going to sew back towards the center of our bead. So you can go ahead and pass through, you know, a few beads here, okay? And just pull that nice and tight. Okay, so we now have the side of our bead looking like this. You can kind of adjust it as needed. That line is not sitting as pretty as I want it to. I'll have to go in and fix that. Okay, so we're going to pass all the way down through the bead until you exit from the 4th 8-0 on the top row. So again, I find it easier at this point to just flip the whole bead over, okay? And that way you're basically following the instructions for the first side that we did. It's like all on the correct side and everything, so to me it makes it easier. Just take your time and pass through all of those beads. And it's quite important to get these ones that are tucked in because it helps them stick out more. Tries to, you know, try and pull them more in line with the other beads. Okay, so once you get there, and my tail's kind of in the way here, but just trying to hold it out of the way. Okay, we're going to pick up our 3 15-0s. Okay, so 3 15-0s. We're going to go straight up into the 11-0 that is next to our 8-0. Okay, we're going to pick up, remember, 5. We're going up into our 8-0 that is here. We're going to again go up through that very first bead that we just added. Pick up 4 now because that one is the first one, so we only need to add 4. We're going up through that B bead that is next to our 8-0, and we're picking up 3. And we're going through our 8-0 right here. Pick up 2. Go down through the 3rd 15-0 plus the 11-0. Get that little V. Go through all 5 of your 15-0s leading to your 8-0. Go down through your 8-0. And go back up other side, which means we're going back up this one that we've already been through multiple times. And I think this time I may have to change needles. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let me do that quickly. Okay, so I'm now using my size 12 needle, and now I should be able to scoot up those 5 no problem. Okay, and then go through the B bead plus the first 15-0. And pick up 2, go through the 8-0 on the base and the next 2 B beads. Okay, so we have that little triangle there. We're going to pick up our 7 15-0s. Once you've got your 7, you're going to go through that little 15-0 that is up here that we added earlier. Okay, and go ahead and pick up. Oh, what's happening here? Looks like it's, oh, I came out the wrong bead. Hang on, let me fix that. I went 1 bead too far. Okay, sorry about that. I fixed it. Yeah, you should be coming out from that B bead right there. Okay, we're going to pick up 7 of our 15-0s. And we're going to go up through the B bead that is at the top of this diamond here. Okay, and again, you can go through the next few beads as well. Okay, so it should look something like that, okay? All right, so now we're going to, I'm going to flip back over again, okay? So I'm coming out from the lower left-hand side of my bead. I'm going to go through the next few beads to come out from the next 8-0, okay? Sorry. And once you're coming out from that 8-0, we're going to reinforce this bit right here. So go ahead, go up all of those. So you're going through your 3mm and all of those 15-0s right there. Give it a nice tug and then go back down the other side. So you want it to feel fairly sturdy, okay? You're going to go through your 8-0 plus those next 2 11s that we added earlier and the next 8-0. And then we're going to basically do what we did on this bit right here. So we're going to go up through our 3mm. We're going to add a 15-0 and go up through the first 15-0 on our little picot. Okay. You're going to skip the next 15-0, you're going to go down the next 15-0. And you're going to make sure that that top 15-0 is popped out. Okay, you're going to go down, sorry, you're going to pick up another 15-0, and you're going to go down through the 3mm. So that should look, it should be kind of almost like holding, like, so it looks like it's holding this bead in place, even though it isn't, okay? But it should kind of resemble that. And then you're going to go through the 8-0 and the next two 11-0s, and through the next 8-0 on the base. We're going to go up over just to reinforce this bit. The side bits do get knocked about more when you're wearing a ring, which is, or even a necklace, which is why we're just making sure that all of this is nice and reinforced. And I would suggest to go around again and reinforce at the end, okay? I find that that really helps it kind of become more solid. Okay, give that all a nice tug, and then go ahead, go through the 8-0 and the 2 11s, leading over to the side. We're nearly there, guys. You're gonna do your last side, so we're going through the 8-0. You're going up 3mm. You're going to pick up a 15-0, and you're going up the very first 15-0 right here, okay? Skip the next 15-0, go up the down the next 15-0. Make sure that that middle one pops up to a point, okay? And pick up one more 15-0 and go down through the 3mm. Okay. Just pull that all nice and tight. Push it in so it looks like it's holding the bead in place, and then you can carry on through the beads. Now, we have finished adding all of our beads, but I highly recommend that you go back around, reinforce this whole middle bit, and I also recommend that you go down here, follow these beads, reinforce this whole outside, okay, and I would go up and reinforce some of your 15-0s in here. So I just think that it's a good idea to reinforce, because some of these 15-0s have only had one thread through them, especially the big long line of 7. So I would go, and it really helps to tighten the whole thing up, and your ring, your bead should then feel really solid, okay? Like this one feels really, really solid. Like, you know, these feel pretty tight in place. So just go, do not be afraid, reinforce, reinforce, reinforce. Again, this one pretty solid. I can squish it a little bit, but not much. So you want your bead to feel strong. You can even go all the way around. You can reinforce the back. So just do a lot of reinforcing, and then you can tie off your threads, okay? But that is the base. All the beads are now in place. Okay, I really like the blue. I think it's really pretty with the light blue crystals. I like this one. All right, so tomorrow, prepare the base for tomorrow. We will be doing our butterfly bead tomorrow with our 4mm and a 3mm, okay? So I will see you tomorrow. Take care. And don't forget to go join the Jules and Rose Facebook Beading Buds group if you're not already a member, so you can show us your pretty beads. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.